Hello, my name is Travis Baylitz. The date is July 25th, 2015. Now, this video is going to be a recap or an update of the past. What I really want to get at is to update you guys on my mental health and where things are going from now. I also want to recap about the history of where I was at and a concept that I kind of developed when I was during my depressive states. First of all, if you guys do not know me, as I stated, my name is Travis Baylitz. I have bipolar disorder type 1. There's two types, bipolar disorder type 2 and bipolar disorder type 1. I don't know if you guys are familiar with mania and depression, but those ebb and flows are so grandiose that it creates the illness known as bipolar disorder. As you also note, I am not mentally trained. I'm just voluntarily expressing my own advice, opinions, and knowledge on the subject matter regarding bipolar disorder. I think with bipolar disorder, there's a fluctuation of having mania and depression, which is manic, euphoria. It's like the highs of the highs and the lows of the lows, which is the depression. And after a while, I am at a state of depression. From 2014 up till today, which I am able to cope and recognize things. Last year, about this time, in July of 2014, I was literally suffering from avolition, which is just kind of a depreciation of energy, kind of apathy, sluggishness, and all I would do is lay on this couch. I'd also develop something along with the depression, which was physical signs of depression. I actually poked a hole in the wall, and it was actually pretty big, just digging. I also did other sorts of things that what I like to describe as poverty of the mind. There's this fancy term or this fancy slogan for like success when it comes to having mania, and this success when it comes to having depression. I mean, the unsuccess of having depression. Today I'm going to focus on the depression aspect, and I want to call it poverty of the mind. Poverty of the mind is the depression aspect of bipolar disorder. It could also be considered disorganized ways of thinking and can be really troubling, especially when you are in a depressive state. When I was depressed, not only would I try to dig holes in the walls, I would lay around a lot. My urinal would be in an ice cream bucket. The way I did the number 2, I would use a kitty litter. I would drink from big gallons of waters from the sink. I would wash off in a sink. I also would not eat as well, and that's another thing. When you have bipolar disorder and you're in a depressive state, you lose that self-care, which is taking care of yourself, like bathing and dressing, grooming. I would rarely shave. I would have problems trying to get myself to shower, so I couldn't shower. I'd often wash off in a bucket, so that's my form of showering. And I would not use the toilet. Hence, I think this state is like, there's this state of mind where you develop this think poor, grow poor. It's the opposite of think rich, grow rich, or think and grow rich. You think and grow poor, and that's where I was at. I would just be hammered by these depressive thoughts and felt like I was getting nowhere in my life. The anxiety was also bad. The depression was also bad. I wasn't terribly angry, but I was definitely frustrated with how things were going. And that was back then. So I also want to get to where I'm at right now. I think I'm in a different state. I wouldn't say I'm 100% extravagant or successful or happy, but I think I'm coping with things a lot better. I'm going to 9 hours of DBT Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 3 hours per day a week. So that's 9 hours a week in total. And I also work 14 hours cleaning banks. And that's actually roughly, and 1 hour therapy. So that's roughly, most of my time is half is spent on mental health and maybe a little more than half is spent on working. So what I want to address with this video is just know that if you are in a really bad state, whether you're depressed or even manic, you can have these high energies of spending, addictions, promiscuous relationships. It's all across the board when it comes to the mania. But I also felt like I was pretty ignorant back then too, so I also was not in a great state either. These days I seem to struggle with pacing, though I'm doing a lot better than where I was at before. I think I'm doing a little bit better. Kind of holding back a little bit because I am on SSDI, which is Social Security Disability, and I get a certain amount. Let's just say it's just under 9,000 a year, and maybe 7,000 from working. So it's okay. I wouldn't say it's great, but yet again, the most important factor when it comes to your mental health is actually your mental health. You don't want to be suffering from suicidal ideations, or you want to reduce or manage the self-injurious behavior. And if you can't do either of those, I recommend a hospitalization. Sometimes people have asked me, well, I don't take my medication. Is that bad? I don't think that's bad. It's just there's consequences with it. Whether you make that choice to take the meds or not take the meds, there are going to be consequences such as side effects, and that can also be troubling. I'm not totally 100% confident in this video, but at the same time, I feel like it's important for me to address this. Someone also on YouTube suggested that I upload more mental health videos, so that's what I'm doing.
Tell them about the solution, like taking the pills that you're taking.
My brother wants me to suggest that there's solutions to bipolar disorder. There's a couple different pills you could be taking. Lithium is the gold standard. Lamictal is one, and Depakote, but I was allergic to Depakote. That's the gold standard for mood disorders. There's also other medications if you have psychotic effects or FDA approved for bipolar disorder, which is like Latuda, various antipsychotics, Seroquel, Geodon, Risperdal, Invega, Abilify, Clozaril, Zyprexa. There's numerous Haldol. There's numerous drugs that can be available for people with bipolar disorder. But this problem was, right now I'm on mood disorder. I'll describe. Right now I'm on a low dose of antipsychotic, a pretty high dosage of lithium, a small dose of Lamictal, so I'm on 2 mood stabilizers, and an antidepressant which is doxepin. And doxepin is kind of an acyclical, I believe, or tricyclical. It's tricyclical, excuse me, and that is an older standard of drugs. I do see a psychiatrist on a regular monthly basis. I do wish that my mood was better, but at the same time, that's what DBT is for, dialectical behavioral therapy. If you have an illness such as depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, or borderline personality disorder, their dialectical behavioral disorder, or DBT, was developed by Marsha Linehan, who also suffered from, I think she had borderline personality disorder, and she did cut herself, so she had an addiction as well.
Talk about ILS and arms.
I also want to talk a little bit about my services that I have. I have a caddy case manager, which is someone who comes and assigns certain services. They can help you bathe yourself, clothe yourself, cook food, that's a helper, and they have an ILS worker that can help you pay bills and have you develop certain goals that you want to develop. Similar to an arms worker. Arms worker is more less hours. I spend with an ILS worker, an independent living skills worker, 2 hours a week, a therapist every 2 weeks, a psychiatrist every month, DBT 3 days a week, 9 hours, arms 1 hour a week, and caddy case manager every month. I also have a case manager that was every month, so we go back and forth. But I'm gonna be losing that service because there's a duplication of service with caddy case manager and case manager. A case manager can basically set you up with services such as housing. Caddy case manager can even set you up with certain services that includes extra housing. The thing is, if you're on disability, you're only allowed $95 a month if you choose to go to corporate foster care. So there's other options available like foster care and like apartments that include an ILS worker at the apartments. That's what comes with a caddy case manager. I didn't want to go that route. I felt like I want to be able to save my money, which is my living situation, still living with my dad and my brother. I pay 30% rent, and I cover that through doing a lot of various things. I charge 18 an hour, so even though I charge like 218, I mean I pay rent for 218. I usually pay that off through doing various things for my dad. They include like lawn care, painting, cleaning, whole bunch of things, landscaping, whole bunch of things. Okay, my brother also wants me to mention the hormone that I'm on. I'm not on a hormone. I basically have acute hypothyroidism, which is caused by the lithium. So like the side effect can make you tired. I sleep like 12 hours a day. And I still kind of do, but it was given to me to kind of give me more energy. So I take Cytomel, which is liothyramine or something. Cytomel is the generic name for it, but that's what they put me on. I had like I said, I did 6 hospitalizations, one in June 2014, November 20th to the 24th, 2014, January 2nd to the January 9th, 2015, and May 23rd to the 31st, 2015. So I had 4 hospitalizations a year. So things are not that great, but I think I'm doing a lot better than I was before. I don't know, maybe Kyle has a different opinion. Why don't you explain to them, Kyle, some of the things that happened when I was feeling ill?
Why don't you talk about, well, after that we can talk about people who are suicidal, what your advice is.
All right. So I'll just say some things my brother wants to change. There's early warning signs and there's triggers. My early warning signs was pacing, not grooming, not changing clothes regularly. Now I changed once a day. This can include brushing teeth, showering, shaving. I shave once a week, still do that. I could shave more, but it takes a lot of work and I don't like to do it all the time. So we're explaining early warning signs, which are the pacing, the lack of self-care. What else have I done that you notice that I track, which is like I pace while looking randomly like I'm lost or something, like a lost puppy or something. And of course the SI, which is having suicidal thoughts, feeling a sense of loss or believing that your life isn't worth it, having those hopeless feelings. But there's several things that I've done to stop a lot of that. It's a lot of opposite to. I'll tell you some DBT skills. Opposite to emotion, doing the opposite of what you do, and distracts, having activities to do while what will keep you busy. Work to me is a big distraction. There is there is also thought stopping, which is stopping the thought of negative behavior. Another thought is encouragement, like encouraging yourself that you can get through this, things will be okay. Another thing is putting there's accepts, there's improve, they're all acronyms. There's please, and if you look into them, a lot of it's sleep, exercise, imagery, relaxation. I would like to talk about specifically push away, like pushing the thoughts away. You want to push those negative thoughts away right now. You want to imagine they're on a conveyor belt and just let your thoughts kind of slide away. That's using imagery. Um, I use a lot of O2E as I explain, doing the opposite of how you feel. You do it whether you like it or not, in a sense, and that what keeps me busy. It can be a little bit distracting. You got to make sure you have hobbies to do because that's what can really benefit you if you want to get somewhere. Another thing is that self care can include eating. So if you're not eating well, that could be a symptom of an early warning sign that things aren't going too well. You don't have to just be bipolar to have early warning signs. You can be anxious, depressed, and whatnot. So, anyways,
Talk about your advice for people that are suicidal like you and me, and what would you do?
you know it's funny because my advice is bad. I'm gonna be honest with you.
No, you need to
Someone,
describe the question what I said because they can't really.
okay, so my brother asked, what was the question?
About advice on suicide.
My brother asked, told me to tell you guys advice that I can give you about people who are suicidal. There's not a whole lot of things I can do. I mean, the best thing that you can do for someone is to validate their feelings. Like, if someone's feeling like crap, you validate, all right, I know you're feeling like crap. But there's different type of skills you could be using, such as the skills that I was explaining earlier. So those are some things that you could be trying. Like I said, I'm not a professional, so I'm not always great at it, and I have a hard time like keeping myself from wandering around because I have a tendency to wander myself, which I pace around if things get kind of bad. They can get progressively worse, and I could almost like get myself to feel like
Do
suicidal.
you think hospitalization is absolutely necessary?
My brother's asking, is hospitalization necessary if you're having symptoms? I believe if all things fail, such as you have really high symptoms, if they're like a 9 or 10 for depression, anxiety, you're having self-injurious behavior, or you're having suicidal ideations, yes, I recommend the hospital. But for people that believe that they're always going to the hospital, they'll always be there, it's not helping, I don't have advice for you because really, it's really up to you on how you really want to, it's really up to you on where you really want to take things. My personal opinion is still go to the hospital whether you like it or not. Use opposite to emotion and just get yourself to the hospital. But at the same time, I have to admit that there is someone who posted a wife of her husband committed suicide and she wanted people to know about it, and I was like, suicide's, if you really think about suicide, you really have to think about the meaning of why you want to do it. Can you imagine yourself where, let's say you do have a family or loved ones or friends that really care about you? And I know I do. And when you think about them and you see yourself in a coffin and they are there crying half to death, do you feel that you made their life worthwhile by knowing that you just killed yourself and you're gone?
You remember when you're gone, you're gone. You're never coming back.
The thing is, when you're gone, it's permanent. You're not coming back. So
And the value of life.
I think that puts enough meaning on my life. I value my life enough to know that there's people that care about me and that I care about them. As I told one friend, I realized why I'm not a loser, because I told myself multiple times I'm just a loser. There's reasons why I'm not a loser. It's because I have good friends that I care about. And I think that's more important to know than knowing that you have people that care about you. You got to know that you care about other people because that can give you meaning too. This is just going to be kind of a longer vlog session. I haven't done one of these this style. I usually use a webcam to express things, but I haven't done it this way for a long time. So anyways, I take lithium 1200 milligrams, Latuda 40 milligrams, Lamictal 25 milligrams, Klonopin 0.5 milligrams. What is it? And metoprolol 25 milligrams, and doxepin 10 milligrams, low dose, and cytomel 25 micrograms. So it's a pretty small dose. Is there anything else that you want me to say before I close? Make my close.
I think that's it for now.
All right, folks. I just wanted to update you on things. I'm not going to be uploading a video every freaking day. I mean, not like I did before, but now I feel like it's giving me some focus. So if I can focus on doing something, it's better than doing nothing. Because when I'm sitting there urge surfing, like riding through the ebbs and flows of just sitting there doing nothing, it's annoying.
Can you actually offer the people links in the YouTube page of all the services that you do, or is that too much?
Well, there's NAMI, Depression Bipolar Alliance. There's one other one that I can't think of, but the big ones are NAMI and Depression and Bipolar Alliance.
So what is your basic summary steps of recovery?
Recovery
Steps.
is a very slow process. You want to speed things up, but you can't. And the best thing for yourself is to radically accept that things are just this way. You can do your best to try to change them, but try to be mindful, try to be present in the moment, try to think mindfully, try to ground yourself in the present, because if you think about the past or the future, you're going to end up causing yourself more misery. Because if you feel like shit and you keep focusing on that in the past or in the present, like for instance, in the present you feel like crap, you want to mindfully focus on something else. Try to push away those thoughts, and if you can't push them away, of course, validate it. Sometimes things are just that way and you don't know why.
So what are the steps of someone in your situation where before they need help, and what do you think they should
I think if you have depression and addiction, anxiety, bipolar disorder or schizoaffective disorder, I think the first step is really to challenge yourself before you even put that label on you, because I immediately got that label because I had a reaction to Paxil and antidepressant. I got manic and euphoric. So that's what clarified me as being bipolar. So I'd had it for 7 years right now. The second step is, of course, setting up an appointment with a psychiatrist to see if they can put you on medication. It's not fun. I don't take meds because they're fun. I do it because I feel like I have to. If I don't get sleep. I don't sleep well, and I just don't sleep. I don't know if that's part of the bipolar, but I got so used to the meds that I'm on right now, and I've been on a higher dose, so I'm on a much lower dose these days. Next step after seeing a psychiatrist is to seek out additional services like case manager, ARMS. Maybe you need a caddy case manager. Maybe you want some DBT in your life. The fourth step is, of course, work. I think work can be very purposeful if you feel you're up to it. Sometimes, even though I was never up to it at the beginning, I'm kind of glad that I'm working.
Part-time is better than full-time.
I think I would start slow, so I would work part-time and then maybe creep up to full-time if you think can manage it. Like, again, it can affect services like your Social Security, the money that you get. So you got to really think about what you can handle. So the first step is kind of challenge those thoughts. Second step is see a psychiatrist, therapist. Third step is do DBT. Fourth step is to seek work.
And can you believe that you actually gotten better after your effort and work put into it?
I think I'm okay. I don't think I'm great. I wish things were still better. I hate to say this. I still wish that things were better for me. But at the same time, I'm thinking about my future, and at the same time, that doesn't make me feel that good because I'm not thinking in the present. So the reason why I'm down here in this basement is not because I'm down here laying on the couch all the time. It's because I'm kind of reflecting on things at and realize like how miserable I actually was and where I'm at right now. I'm doing a lot better. Um, I've actually lost 30 pounds. I was 152 and I dropped down to 122 at one point. Right now I'm sitting at 128 and that can fluctuate to 132. So healthy weight. Wish I could still be more fit, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm not pressuring. I don't feel insanely absorbed into working out, but
Any last words?
I just want to say that thank you for listening. I don't know if you knew this. I don't only clean banks, but I compose music. I have 5 albums out, 3 from Tour Tracks, 3 from one from Duo Beats and 1 from Real Group Station, and they'll be in the links provided below, as well as on the video. Um, Thank you for listening. I hope you all gained some insight on this. I feel like this is a long video. It's a little bit disorganized, but I think it will give you a healthy means of someone living with bipolar disorder. I mean, it'll give you the experience of someone living with bipolar disorder, so the insight of someone living with bipolar disorder. It's just a label, but at the same time, I feel like, God, I wish I was bipolar. I'm sure you wish that too, but at the same time, you have to admit that you just got to radically accept it. I think it's more important for you to know that there's people that care about you and they don't see you for that label, okay? And that you treat yourself as a human being and you can effectively try to do things that are effective. Like, for instance, if you feel like bitching is not helpful or it gets your thoughts out, it can go either way. So I don't consider this bitching. I just consider it insight to my mind.
And you can tell them if you have any questions or comments, you can feel free to leave it in the box below.
And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave a comment in the comment box below. I am open up to anything else that you want me to talk about. Maybe you want to see something different. Real Group Station has been quite an hypocrisy of different things. So, anyways, take care. Have a good one. Bye.